What was the weirdest thing the weird kid did at school? A kid I grew up with started wearing homemade chainmail to school our freshman year of high school. Every day. For all 4 years. He was always pretty odd. But he was nice enough. Plus we had a few classes together through middle school and we had connected over a shared love of a few video games. So I felt comfortable asking him why he started wearing it all of a sudden. He proceeded to explain the defensive benefits of chainmail versus both sharp and blunt instruments of harm. For like 5 solid minutes. Daggers, pikes, hammers, even how curved blades like katana and falchions would struggle against it. I basically just shrugged and told him makes sense. And we both went to our classes. I don't know what I expected. But I guess it wasn't the basic defensive benefits that armor offers. Edit. Wow. Thank you all. This is a much more widespread phenomenon than I had thought. This all took place in Wyoming, before it ceased being, for all the people wondering if it was their own nightly scholar. Edit 2. I believe he wore an undershirt. Then armor and then an overshirt. The armor was about 55 pounds, I think, and it had a full hood, widow's peak and all, and sleeves. This was in the 2000s, so school shootings were definitely a thing. But not quite a weekly event. Yet, yay America. Closing parenthesis. Also, I'm not gonna say his name. Like I said, he was always nice and I'm not about to dox an old homie. Plus Wyoming has like 35 people in it. So, yeah. I also was not trying to shame him at all. I think it was way cool and creative. Like the thread may suggest. A little weird. But I absolutely applaud the ingenuity to craft it all himself. So I don't want anyone who reads this to think I was shaming or bullying. If you want to make chainmail for school or work or church or whatever. Hell yeah. Lil homie. Be your own beautiful self. All love on this end. A wild kid activated a fire hose and started blasting everyone that came his way. Students. Teachers. Didn't matter. Weird kid in elementary was a self-proclaimed alien. Once, while waiting for the bus, she told me, "On my planet we eat people like you," and proceeded to bite me. We later became friends in high school and she used to give me massages during lunch break in the quad. Just realized now she was likely tenderizing me. In 4th grade, one kid got so angry at something. Maybe the work we were doing. He gripped his pencil as hard as he could. Started yelling, moaning, and stuck the sharp end of the pencil square into his forehead. One girl used to run, gallop around the playground on her own. Pretending she was a horse. This is at too old an age for the rest of us to be doing this. Think 14-15s. She got a medicine degree and is doing her surgical training at the moment. I bumped into her in a hospital after over a decade. All I could think of to say was, "Do you still love horses?" She laughed and said she had her own horse now. Figures. She wrote a list of all the girls and boys she wanted to kiss and murder and then casually passed it out on the playground. He drove around the basketball courts, following the lines, on an imaginary bus. He'd stop to let people get on, off the bus and then drive them to their stops and we walked in a line behind him. When he stopped walking he'd mimic the door opening and closing and wouldn't let you on, off if you didn't wait for the signal. Salutations Ben the bus driver. I hope you achieved your dreams. Edit. Wow, a lot of messages asking for more info. To clear it up, this was in Australia and he was between the ages of 8 to 13 when I knew him. We all got on the bus because when no one did he'd drive around looking sad. He did this all the time. Not once and not sporadically. Anytime he was outside he was imitating a bus driver. Ran out of the class and I guess attempted to leave school or something. A bunch of teachers chased him. I could hear running out in the halls and teachers asking where he went. The door to the class was closed but there was a window. Quite a bit later I look up and I see him at the little window and he just looks at us and licks the window and runs away again and I see a couple teachers run after. Impressively imitated the barking of a dog. Really sounded like a dog with a deep, fierce bark. Not like a middle school student. Edited 12 hours later. Thanks for the upvotes. I apologize if anyone was offended by my comment. Keep in mind that I am afraid of dogs. If you manage to sound, exactly, like a dog, then that will make me feel a little bit on edge, though it shouldn't. When the teacher told him to sit down he screamed, "Fuck you cow." Fast forward 2 years, he tells everyone he's a vampire and stabs my friend with a pen to try to make him bleed. He was weird like. That one kid once went for a poop. He collected it in a bottle, put milk on it and went back into the classroom with his bottle of cocoa. He then proceeded to offer it to others. And to the teacher. He is a senior physician now. Being weird did not harm him. There was a girl that pretended to be a horse and make horse noises, and she also would draw pictures of all the guys' faces in detention with their bodies as half goat, horse with very detailed massive male genitalia. She was a really good artist lol. There are two that come to my mind. It just so happens that they were also good friends with each other. The first one I remember chasing girls around the school with his penis out. This was when we were pre-teens. The second guy joined our class when we were early teens. And the two became best friends. One time, the teacher said something to the line of the back table. Out. Because they were annoying her. These two fucker decided to open the window and throw the table out. Edit. When I say pre-teen I mean around 8 or 9. In my native language you become a teenager at 11. I sometimes forget that in English it's 13 and up. We didn't really have weird kids at my school. Oh shit. I brought a live chicken to show and tell and wore a clown wig for a week once. Oh yeah, and I had my own sign language that I used to curse people. He didn't say much, but if asked, he would go to the front of the class and perform tiptoe through the tulips with all of the emotion and volume of Tiny Tim. Holding nothing back. He once asked me to play spies with him. Knowing he didn't play with many people. I said yes. He took me on a mission around the school. Before coming to a stop in front of bushes. Pulling his pants all the way down and then started peeing in the bushes. At that point I was out. Said absolutely nothing to anyone besides I like cows for about a month. Anything you said to him. Regardless of the context or situation. I like cows. The list is endless, but one incident sticks out in my mind. The boy was getting told off by the teacher, and instead of taking it on the chin, he decided to jump on the table, shout "I'm out of here," and proceed to run full pelt into a steel beam that was supporting the roof. Knocked himself out cold. Was a fun lesson by all accounts. There was a kid who used to eat erasers and growl at other kids. Okay, so I had a kid at my school. Not particularly bad, but just annoyed the everything out of me. Because I was the only one nice to him. He would follow me everywhere. Randomly grab me for no reason. Hug me and not give me any personal space. But here comes the worst part. We have school swimming lessons. And you could either get changed in the change rooms or the toilets, showers. Since I am a shy person, I would always use the showers to get changed. Figures he followed me in there. Got dressed outside my door. And just when I was leaving my cubicle, he was just there, dancing naked. I died inside that day. The weird kid in my school, who was also a friend of mine, had really bad dry scalp during the winter months. He would vigorously rub his hair to get some relief from the itchiness, and in the process would end up with lots of dead skin on his desk. One girl looked over as he was doing this and loudly said "Ew." And he, wanting to make a statement, gathered up all the dead skin in a line-shaped pile and snorted it like it was a massive line of cocaine. He was kicked out of class. I dated the weird kid in high school and even a few years after, and the weirdest thing he did was try to date his cousin. While we were together, he also ate grass, and him and his friends would talk about the flesh planet. I hated my life back then. Edit. So I should have elaborated that she wasn't his bio cousin. But she was his cousin by marriage till the divorce. But they were raised as cousins, and she was introduced to me by him and his family as cousins. Also, his whole family knew and supported it and acted like I was the crazy and that I was ridiculous for being mad about it. His father in particular said he wanted him to be with her so that they could have YT babies. I'm black and so is my mom, he kept trying to get with. Yes, we live in the South. The rest of the family, however, was obsessed with the fact that we would have beautiful mixed babies. I had serious low self-esteem. Low standards and serious abandonment issues due to traumas in my life at that time, and everyone questioned why I was with him. Even our teachers. But I really try not to judge people. This one kid wore cheap button-down collar shirts to school every day. And he would only ever button the top button and let the shirt billow around him when he walked. He would stated that he was convinced by doing this every day it would catch on and he'd start a trend in the school and be popular. He was forever alone on that hill lol. 3rd grade. Whipped his dick out while we were sitting on the mat. Did not say anything, just sat there as the teacher processed what was happening. This was in 96-97, we had a bomb threat and all had to go to the football stadium. One of the special ed kids that had down started the Macarena and had the entire school going, and then this one kid that dressed weird ran out on the field with his friend in front of everyone and they started kissing. This was 96-97, so it started a huge mess. People were trying to beat him up and the administrators had to take them away. Meanwhile there were still some people trying to keep the Macarena alive. Was a strange day. Edit date had wrong date. Was my freshman year. Link for proof. Email number 4. Spoke Elvish. On a daily basis. My old art teacher told our class a bunch of stories about weird things kids did in her class through the years before she retired. Before she worked at our school. She worked as an English teacher at the juvenile court school. All of the kids there had issues. But there was this one kid who really stuck out to her. She was assigned to teach him. But the catch was that he had to be in solitary in order to be taught. She was also told that he needed to be watched at all times because he always tried to escape class, and usually was successful. When she taught him, there was a guard posted at the door. The windows were locked and boarded up. And the door was kept locked. The only things in the room were his desk, his chair, and her desk, so that he couldn't hide either. Apparently he was also extremely good at that. The first time she had to teach this kid, they were put in a solitary room. But it had a closet. The kid went missing. And about 3 hours later they found him taking a nap at the bottom of the closet. They missed him the first time they checked there. Another time she had to teach him, this time the room did not have a closet. Or any other visible places he could hide. She left the room for something, probably to go to the bathroom. And when she got back, the kid was gone. The guard was there the whole time. And the room was basically sealed. There was no way he could have gotten out. Once again, there were also no places he could really hide. The school went on a lockdown while they tried to find this kid. About 2 hours pass. And they finally find the kid when he pushes away the paneling on the wall of the classroom and steps out to casually ask if he could go to the bathroom. This kid opened up the goddamn wall and climbed inside to hide, causing no one to be able to find him for hours. My best bud had pottery class with a very strange kid. He would always run like Sonic down hallways and jump over the trash cans. Sometimes other kids would line up trash cans and somehow this guy would fly completely over them. Well, they were in pottery and were supposed to make a pot, vase, anything they wanted. Well, anything went a bit too far in this kid's mind and he decided to make an actual spear. I don't know how it got past the teacher. How it was never mentioned or caught on to. But he actually made the spear. It got baked in the oven and hardened. And then the kid sharpened it in class. My bud said once the teacher saw him sharpening it in class one day he attempted to take it. But the kid went caveman SpongeBob on the school and started stabbing at people to keep them away. Pretty sure he ended up running down the hallways being chased by teachers and eventually the SRO. No one was injured. BTW. Bring a toaster and make tuna melts in computer class. She blew her nose into her hand and then licked it while looking me in the eyes. She actually wasn't too weird aside from that. I have no idea WTF it was. I just turned to the noise and saw that. Jumping on the giant Christmas tree from the second floor balcony. That was the last time they put a Christmas tree on our school. We had an unofficial Harry Potter fan club in high school and Deathly Hallows had just been released. Someone started this whole gossip, rumor that Harry dies at the end, which he actually does, but of course a lot goes on after that which the fan club didn't know about. One of the girls heard about it and tried to commit suicide by throwing herself off the third-story building. We all saw it and 2 of the male teachers had to get her off the window while she was screaming. If Harry is dead, I have no purpose. Needless to say, she got suspended and the club was disbanded. Edit. Wow. I didn't expect this much of response. To answer some, this isn't in US and it was a convent all-girls school. Edit 2. Thank you so much for the awards. Also, for anyone if it's a spoiler. You guys gotta be kidding me. Just get off the internet if you can't bear people talking about a movie which was released like a decade ago. Not anybody's fault other than yours. In first grade there was this kid who stood by the sink in the back of the classroom eating bits of those brown paper towels. The teacher was constantly telling him to stop eating them and go back to his seat. He brought a blow-up doll to our farewell dance, senior prom in the USA, as his date. Complete with fishnets and everything. Edit. He was also wearing a kilt. We aren't from Scotland. A kid had a wank in the back of the classroom and thought it was funny, ejaculated on his desk. 14 or 15, it was like he discovered fire. Interestingly enough, this weird kid was actually really well liked by people at school. He was in the track team and was an insanely fast distance runner. We were pretty good friends in high school and we went to the same summer fine arts camp every year. The funniest thing he ever did was in geometry class freshman year. Our teacher was explaining planes to us and how because 3 points always form a plane, a three-legged table will never wobble. Cue the weird kid standing up. Challenge accepted. Next Monday he comes in dragging a giant table into class. Over the weekend, he had built a table with 3 legs and springs between the flat tabletop and the legs so that if you put a glass on it, it would wobble and fall over. Our teacher found it so funny that he kept the table in his classroom for the whole year. This was in a later stage at college. But my classmate proudly told us he had a love relationship with his golden retriever, including sex, and he was the registrar of a bestiality website. He heard that you'd automatically get suspended if you peed your pants at school. He wanted to find out if it was true. Peed his pants. Got suspended. Had a kid who would take a piece of girl's hair and pick it off their head, then put it in a ring box and keep it for years. Guy wanked off in class and flicked it at someone. One boy was once caught eating grass. When asked why, he said, "I always wanted to be a cow." I think he turned out fine. But it was weird. He called in a fake bomb threat because he was bored. The police showed up and cuffed him in front of the whole classroom. He was suspended for 2 months, during which he had to sit in an empty classroom being watched by the principal herself. He told me afterwards that she asked him all kinds of weird questions. Like what poppers are and how they work. So I think the weird kid was out-weirded by the principal. Edit. I'll add another anecdote because people seem intrigued by the story. A day or so before the bomb threat, he showed the class his disgusting, moldy lunchbox that had been lying in his desk for weeks. When the cops arrested him, they searched his stuff including his desk. When they took out this lunchbox, the whole class burst out laughing. The cops were very confused. In middle school there was this chick named Katie used to eat her panty strings in class. Like she would pull strings from the elastic part of them and eat it. His locker only ever had 3 things in it. His American flag cape, one of those foldable razor scooters, and a box turtle. He didn't do it in high school. But in law school, killed his classmate. Dismembered her in the bathtub. Every now and then I see him get traction on here for not moving during the interrogation. Weird guy. Never thought he'd kill someone though. He got mad that he didn't understand how to play a game at lunchtime, so he started hitting and punching the nearest person to him. Who happened to be me. When I shoved him away and asked him what the hell was he doing, he whipped his dick out, charged at me, and when I shoved him away from me again, he started crying and ran away with his member still sticking out. Edit. I can't believe all the likes and comments this has generated. Thank you all. With that said, if anyone reading this is currently feeling like they are going to hurt themselves or someone else, please reach out to me and talk. I am happy to listen. Please don't think you are alone in this world. Our weird kid wore the trench coat and wore the giant backpack everywhere. He was in my math class. He was a grade below, so he was smart and we were the dumb class. I treated him with respect and stood up for him if someone bullied him. He would let me cheat off his math tests, but if he saw anyone else peeking, he would start hissing at them and barking. I thought the kid was great. One day he just disappeared and we had a school-wide lockdown. The code was cleared and he never came back to class. I saw him a few years later and I was like, "Hey, what's up buddy, one day you were just gone." "Yeah, they expelled me because they thought I was a danger." "Wow, that's crazy, but that's bullshit, man. Don't worry, you would have been safe." He said it straight-faced and I thanked him and went on my way. Still see him from time to time and say hello and I hope he's doing well. On prank day 3 of the weirdest kids in my high school stripped down to their boxers and greased themselves up and ran around for about an hour while the principals tried to tackle them. Well, I cut my finger in a mechanical pencil sharpener on a bet for $10 in 7th grade. Then junior year of high school I snorted a line of pollen in the courtyard outside of the cafeteria for $30. Miraculously, my severe pollen allergies have not been a problem since then. I guess I gave myself a vaccine. Edit. Wow, this is my most upvoted reply of all time. Thank you guys so much for making me feel like the man and not the weird kid. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.